Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 146 of your favourite Formula 1 show. Yes, Jamie and I return once again to discuss what is gotta be the most anticipated race of 2023. We're ready, Jamie. Viva Las Vegas. How are we feeling as we head towards the weekend, and how are we doing generally, my friend?
I'm good. Yes, I'm enjoying life at the minute. That's nice. Good at intro. I'm actually really excited for the race this weekend. It's going to be an absolute mess, and I'm just here for it. To be honest, It's probably the most excited I've been for a race all season, I think. But maybe apart from the first one. But you always get excited for that one because it's been 3 months. So yeah, I'm hoping. I just want it to be chaotic. I don't really care what happens. I just want something interesting to happen.
Yeah, and it kind of worries me, isn't it? The thing we're getting really excited for the GP is just the fact that it might be complete and utter chaos. Of course, we'll delve into all the reasons why as we go through the podcast today, but it's not even that we expect it to be a good race, do we, Jamie? We just expect it, because it's a new track, and because there's a lot of things that apparently the FIA and Formula 1 management weren't aware of going into it, which is a little bit nervous. There's been some unknowns tossed up, hasn't there? And the big one has got to be that they didn't know that deserts get cold at night in the Northern Hemisphere.
In the winter. Well, any time of the year. But, yeah, they've got their... I think basically what happened is Formula 1, as in the brand, were like, we're going to Vegas... Don't care how difficult it is. We go in, make it happen, stick it wherever you want in the calendar. And then FOM, who are like, the FIA, who are the ones who actually run, the competitive nature of the sport, are like, hang on, this is a terrible idea. But it's too late because we've already announced it and we're going. So it means that we're going to be racing on a track with, 6-degree temperatures in the air.
They reckon it might be about
Celsius.
10 next weekend. It's meant to be a warm night.
Okay, great. So I don't know if you remember last time I went to Nürburgring in 2020. That was in October in Germany, and that was really cold. And it made for quite a good race just because the tyres wore really strangely. And it just people had to do 2 warm-up laps and stuff like that. So the overcut was quite powerful because your tyres are warmed up already to battle the people out the pits and stuff like that. So it's just going to be different at the very least. And I think F1 this year has been very samey because we've had the same winner, 19 times out of 22 races or whatever.
Yeah, 17 of 20 GPs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something stupid so far. Yeah, I mean, it's just... you obviously mentioned there about how it was meant to be anywhere in the calendar. I feel like putting it in November was a conscious decision. It was like, well, maybe in the future, if Abu Dhabi decides it doesn't want to be the finale anymore, or we can wrangle it out of its contract, we've got a Las Vegas finale. It's going to be incredible. The title's going to come down to the wire. Oh, Max Verstappen wrapped it up a month ago. No, and now, of course, I don't know if you've seen this as well, but ticket prices have gone through the floor. No one is paying to go to this race.
Yeah, I mean, that's the risk, isn't it, when you put a race right at the end of the season? Because, yeah, it just could be over a while ago. And you can almost guarantee the same will happen with Abu Dhabi compared to 2021. The last 2 years of Abu Dhabi, including this one, will probably have fallen massively just because who cares? So yeah, it's a shame obviously for the sport that the title was settled so long ago, but it wouldn't surprise me if Vegas ends up as a finale, to be honest, down the line, but we shall see.
Oh, well, I was going to argue something very, very different for Vegas, but I'm sure, yeah, we'll discuss that a little bit more in a minute. But yeah, obviously just circling back round to that, the temperatures. Apparently there were personnel, and the article I read was quoted at alarmingly high up in the sport, just believed it would be similar temperatures to Qatar, which, for those of you that don't know, is on the equator. Las Vegas isn't on the equator. Nowhere near.
No.
Yeah, it just is utterly bizarre, isn't it? How no one thought, hang on a minute, this might be a problem. Because, let's be fair, it's Vegas. you want it to be at night. It's all about the neon lights and all this, that, and the other, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and all this. But even if it had just... I guess they can't even really do an evening race, because, of course, then most of their market, which is Europe still, is gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So this time slot is about as early as you can go, isn't it? For 6 a.m. Because if they wanted it to be at dusk, they could shift it back 3 or 4 hours, maybe. But at that point, it's at 2 a.m. start. So
and then it screws... Well, the problem is as well, of course, with it being a night race in Vegas, is it screws over anyone on the west coast of America as well. So it's kind of like they've tripped over everyone here. It just...
I guess the Australians might be happy.
Well, the Australians, yeah, because it's like 5, 6 in the afternoon, I believe. It's quite a nice evening race on a Sunday afternoon. But of course, if it's going to be an absolute disaster anyway, I mean, we just don't know, do we? And that's kind of exciting. But you can't also help but wonder if by the end of Friday we all know what's going to happen and it's just going to be really boring.
Yeah, potentially. Luckily, we've not got a sprint race to give us a spoiler of the first third of the race this week. So, yeah, I'm quite excited just because I think it'll be a mess and really, really chaotic. And that's all we've got to live for at this point of the season, really. So I remember about, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said this would be a race that Max Verstappen doesn't win. We'll have to see if I stick by that or not. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you said it would be a race that Verstappen won't win, fairly confidently. I went out on a limb and said there will be a safety car inside the final 15 laps. A red flag. Yeah. Or a safety car inside the final 15 laps, and I am standing by that as well. I believe
they will script.
I believe Formula One will script this if they feel they have to. If
there'll be a marshal, there'll be a marshal there ready to throw like a cone on the track or something.
Yeah, something bizarre, or it could end up being. You say we get rules surrounding how far drivers can go on tyres again, just like we did in Qatar a few weeks ago. But I think, had this race been on the calendar in 2021, it would have been mind-blowing, hasn't it? But we've said this so many times with Formula One in the 2 years since then. It was the perfect storm of hype and interest and drive to survive and all this, that, and the other. Because let's be fair, this year Formula One has fallen off a cliff because so many new fans have now learnt what most seasons of Formula One are like.
Yeah. I don't know how the FA managed it, because they introduced Drive to Survive in 2018. Those seasons aren't particularly interesting, but the races are quite fun. Like, more so than, 14 to 16. So 18, 19, 20, where they were interesting races, but the narrative of the season...
17 should have been the big one as well.
Yeah. But Drive to Survive was like building and building and building, getting in popularity. Then a global pandemic happens, so no one's got anything to do apart from watch F1 or watch other sports.
But F1
and then you get the best season of all time.
Exactly.
It's like it's just overinflated how many people watch the sport, and it's come to bite them in the back quite a lot this year because so many people around the world just now think F1 is a boring sport, which we've known since 2004. So.
It's a bit like if Arab suddenly decided to stop rewinding on his F1 races. It would suddenly become really dull.
Yeah, but 2021 obviously was massively overinflated how many people were watching, and it was rightly so because it was a phenomenal season, including the last 5 laps. Thank you before you say. And yeah, now we're even seeing it on this show, to be fair, but every form of F1 media is just nosediving a little bit this year, which is a shame.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, and let's be fair, there's only one person to blame for that, and it's Adrian Newey, because he's an absolute wizard. But it does make me wonder whether Formula One's going to have to get radical before 2025. Because I think this is the problem as well, isn't it? Is obviously people moan that, the Verstappen dominance this year is no different to Lewis's dominance throughout the Mercedes era and things like that. And they're not the same, are they? The fact
they're not
that
quite the same.
15 we did a podcast on this a few months ago, didn't we? Ranking every F1 season from 2010 onwards. And I believe we put 2015 as the worst season since 2010.
I think so.
And it kind of course, 14 through 16, like we said, with the exception of 15 to a certain degree, was good because you had Hamilton versus Rosberg. There was a championship fight. 17-18, people like to underplay it now, but it was because Ferrari and Seb's meltdowns both years fell off so incredibly quickly.
But for most of the season, you had a really good
until after the summer break. Both campaigns were still anyone's game. 19 was weird. Like, I was watching a few videos about 19. It's kind of...
Well, the first 8 races are so dead.
But they weren't, though, were they?
They weren't, yeah.
Ferrari should have won at least 2 of them. Red Bull could have won 1 as well at Monaco. And then, obviously, the second half of the year was mega. Because, apart from the fact Ferrari were cheating for a few races.
Yeah,
like Red
that
Bull,
helped them out,
Ferrari, and Mercedes. It's probably the closest all three of those teams have competitively been to each other
definitely.
In a long time. 2020 kind of had so many bizarre storylines that went down. It felt like every week there was something new that was quite crazy to talk about. And then obviously 2021 was absolutely just... that was one of those seasons that a movie will be made of one day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Phenomenal. Best season since 2012, easily.
I'd argue, it's probably top 5 F1 seasons of all time.
Yeah.
I think, it really was... Well, apart from the end was actually scripted. It was one of those seasons that felt like it would have been a bit ridiculous even for a movie, wouldn't it? But that's the magic of sport. And here we are now.
We're now back into the early 2000s.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the problem is, if this kind of carries on, I don't know how I've ended up such down a rabbit hole, but if we get another 2 years of this kind of level of competitiveness at the front, we're just going to be starting from scratch again. So it's going to be like F1 was before Liberty took over, just because the viewing figures will be that low.
But I think it could even theoretically be even worse than that. Because, of course, what's happened now is Formula One's brought a load of new fans in, and then they've gone, oh, this sport isn't boring, and then gone, oh, wait, this sport is boring. Next time round, they're going to go, oh, yeah, no, why would I get back into it? This sport still is...
I know how bad it is, yeah.
This sport can still get boring, which is not great for us to be saying on a Formula One podcast.
No, it's not.
But from casuals' perspective...
They just need to nerf Max Verstappen.
Well, I don't even think it's Verstappen, though. It's just the whole team structure within Red Bull, isn't it?
I think the problem is Red Bull are actually a serious F1 team. Even in Mercedes' dominant eras, while they were running on all cylinders, they still made mess-ups.
And Red Bull do
on a
as
semi-regular
well,
basis.
to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, I think,
but, reliability was always a concern. Like, you could always have the chance of them messing a pit stop up or...
But I
messing
think
a strategy up or missing a VSC.
That also comes with the nature, when you talk about reliability, the fact that we've had these engines now for almost, well, it's going to be a decade in 2 months. Like, they're pretty much where they are, obviously, especially now with the whole engine freeze. It's not even like we've got reliability that plays a factor, unless you're Ferrari still.
Yeah. So it just is like Red Bull feel just a bit cold as a team, really. Like, they're just a bit too clinical.
Well, it just feels sterile, doesn't it?
Needs some more jeopardy, yeah.
And it's kind of, that combination of, yes, it's a ridiculously OP car, but it's a ridiculously OP car set up in such a weird way that only one person in the world can drive it. That one person in the world gets preferential treatment within that team, and not for a single second am I saying that Red Bull shouldn't be, because, of course, I'm sure there's things in his contract as well that stipulate that. But it just is like the perfect storm of... It'll be one of those fantastic things that will be spoke about 15, 20 years from now that'll always have an asterisk with it, I feel like.
For you it will, maybe.
But I think it will for a lot of people. In a similar way to Schumacher's dominance.
Really? What, because he tried to cheat a few times?
Exactly. I think it will come with those asterisks around... the way, and I'm sure obviously, some people will view that with the way obviously Lewis dominated the sport as well. I completely understand that. But, it's that stat as well, isn't it, of course, that Max has wrapped up the Constructors' Championship by himself with 2 races to go. Wrapping up the Constructors is very unlikely by yourself. It's happened a few times before, yes. But the stat that staggered me the most, Jamie, that I saw from someone after, I believe it was the Mexican Grand Prix, is Max Verstappen looks like he's about to become the first driver ever to score more than double the points of anyone else. That's never happened.
Mexico.
Exactly, yeah. That's never happened before in the sport.
Perez's point.
That someone has scored more than double the points of P2 in the championship.
Yeah, and he is ahead of double at the minute.
Yeah,
by 8 points.
And he probably still will be.
As long as he As long as Perez doesn't outscore him, basically.
Well, Perez has basically got to
He
finish
will
on the podium in the last 2 races, and therefore he won't. If Perez doesn't finish on the podium in the last 2 Grand Prix, then Verstappen will.
Yeah.
Which is just a mind-boggling
we should
statistic.
We should get out of this rabbit hole.
We like to go down rabbit holes. Rabbit holes are good. Jamie, I heard you're planning on getting married in Vegas this weekend?
No, sadly not. Sadly, I'm not going to Vegas this weekend. Otherwise, maybe. No, definitely not. But yeah, I haven't really read anything about it. I'm sure it's not a real wedding.
It's Vegas,
but
mate.
You can apparently get married in Vegas.
It's Vegas, mate. I guarantee you that is a real wedding chapel.
I reckon George Russell should get on one knee for Carmen, like Daniel Ricciardo threw him under the bus in one of the videos this week.
I haven't seen that.
It was like, obviously George and Carmen have been going out for years, and I assume that there's chat or whispers as to why he's not proposed yet. And Daniel Ricciardo to F1 media in one of those true or false things was like, I heard George Russell's going to get engaged this weekend.
Deary me.
So keep an eye out for that.
Deary me. I mean, it is. We're really going to go.
Could be Russell's first win of the season.
Yeah, I'm saying we're really going to go down a appalling rabbit hole by our podcast standards. No. But it is always quite weird now, isn't it? How few Formula One drivers are married or have kids nowadays.
Well, Alonso basically said that he
probably would have.
Yeah, he would have if he wasn't a Formula One driver.
You know, it is kind of mad when you think, what's it, 3 drivers? And it's kind of like that whole thing.
2 Haas boys.
Yeah, it takes over your entire. Well, yeah, no. Hulk, sorry, yeah. 2 Haas boys. And. I mean, Verstappen.
Perez is married.
Perez has got kids. Perez, yeah, is the third. Verstappen's got someone else's kid as well.
Yeah, took Kvyat's seat and his kid.
Yeah,
and his
everything
wife.
He's ever had. But yeah, no, it is kind of mad, isn't it, nowadays? Because, of course, back in day, obviously, it was a lot more common. But, of course, now
because you could just turn up at the weekend and
it completely is overtaken. You know, it is all of your life now, more than ever before.
Yeah,
isn't it?
But maybe there's an extra couple who's married coming this weekend. Keep an eye on George Russell.
There you go. Apparently, it's definitely George Russell, according to Jamie. He keeps up on all the wags' interest on the podcast. Ferrari and McLaren, Jamie, have both brought new liveries for this weekend.
Yeah, and they're slightly creative.
I like
the
Ferrari.
Ferrari just gone white, which I quite like.
Of course you do. Sorry, no, that's... Yeah.
Wow. Outrageous on air. That's outrageous. And McLaren have gone for like night mode, so that's pretty cool as well.
But it's basically the stealth livery again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite similar. So I like both of them. I think Ferrari is probably my preferred.
Yeah, I like the Ferrari livery. It's a proper classic throwback.
Sorry. If Charles Leclerc wins, then it looks like a Monaco flag as well, so perfect.
Or the Polish flag, or the Indonesian flag, for that matter.
It does. Ria Haryanto.
Yeah, we need him back. That would make this weekend exciting, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's just... Again, it feels weird to be getting hyped for Vegas, because it feels like we're getting hyped for all the wrong reasons, isn't it? But maybe, just maybe, this weekend could be not only Lando Norris's time to shine, Jamie, but Haas have got an opportunity here.
Have they?
Tyre warm-up. Haas cook their tyres.
They do cook their tyres.
They're going to struggle this weekend to cook their tyres. They might have a real opportunity here, in the same way Ferrari might have a real opportunity here. Because, of course, we know Ferrari as well are historically very aggressive on... Which is why they've been able to do good qualifying laps this year. Very aggressive on their tyre warm-up.
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity for Haas to get a big result? Because they are now last in the Constructors, aren't they?
They are. They're 4 points off Alfa Romeo and 9 points off Alfa Tauri. So, Hulkenberg podium, they're right there.
I'll behave. If Hulkenberg gets a podium this weekend, I will do a shoey.
Matt will get married in Vegas.
I won't get married in Vegas, but I will do a shoey.
There we go. You heard it here first.
And last, because he won't.
We shall see.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Constructors battle again, because it's kind of been the big thing we talk about, isn't it? Throughout the last few. I mean, there's still a couple of other fights to go on. Mercedes, Ferrari, still only 20 points between them. Aston Martin and McLaren, 21 points between them, but that one kind of feels like a done deal now for McLaren.
Yeah.
Staggering, isn't it? Aston Martin are going to make this big leap forward from tied 6th to 5th.
I mean, to be fair, they've got a lot more points.
Yeah, but
And
that's pointless. I don't give you any more money, does it?
Well, it's good. It's good progression.
Okay.
Mercedes are the ones I would be worried about because the way they're going at the minute. What's going on there?
Yeah, they've had a couple of poor races recently, but I feel like they've kind of been able to because Ferrari have also had a couple of poor races. Gives them a bit of a chance, doesn't it? Still,
though another Singapore and then Ferrari are in business.
Yeah, but they won't get another Singapore, will they? It's Ferrari.
Well, it's a night race.
Yeah,
who knows? That's all it takes.
Apparently, yeah, because they won all the other night races this year, like Bahrain, Jeddah.
Them,
yeah, it's mad, isn't it? We had this a couple of years ago, didn't we? Where it was like 6 races in a row were night races between the end of 21 and the start of 22. Yeah. So ridiculous. AlphaTauri,
such
Jamie.
Old men.
We do. AlphaTauri, Jamie, have finally confirmed, although we kind of already suspected it, that they have been taking more Red Bull parts since the Singapore Grand Prix, most notably the rear suspension setup, and are going to be working closer with Red Bull for 2024. Now, we say we know wheel. We called this a long time ago, didn't we? Because it's all about them trying to sell up shop.
Not the hardest thing in the world to call, to be honest.
No, but we'll still take it.
Times before. But we will take it because, yeah, they are going to sell to Hugo Boss or whatever. Or Nike or
Adidas,
whoever it was. I can't remember. Adidas, that was it. Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense to try and boost your stock by bringing Ricciardo in and making the car good for the last 5 races. And yeah, if they end up finishing 7th, suddenly their team's probably quadrupled in value compared to if they finished 10th.
Well, it's a lot more prize money, isn't it?
Yeah.
It does kind of beg the question. I know we've said this before, haven't we? Again, we're not going to become those people that claim on, you see all those people on Twitter going, oh, Red Bull use AlphaTauri's testing time to develop their own car. They get twice the time of anyone else. All this, that, and the other. I'm not claiming that for a second. But it does kind of feel like, on paper at least, why didn't they do this a lot sooner? Because let's be fair, you look at the championship, they could have probably been in the fight with Alpine this year, couldn't they?
I'm not sure about that.
Had they been doing this from the start of the year, they absolutely could have been there. They probably, I'd say they've scored more points than Alpine since Singapore.
I doubt it. Gasly's been doing work.
Has he, though? Has he, Jamie? Maybe not as many, but they'll have been close.
I mean, they'd be comfortably 7th.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be a long way clear.
Yeah, they'd be on, at least 60-odd points kind of thing.
Yeah. So, but I don't forget they were hamstrung by Nick de Vries for the first half of the season as well.
Yeah, but give him a decent car, he might have done all right. Probably not, though.
I think he did have a decent car. Snowden's finishing 10th, 11th every week.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to what we said at the start of the year, though, doesn't it? AlphaTauri have not been this miles off the back of the field like everyone claimed. We didn't claim it, though, Jamie. We know wheel.
We do. They have scored 16 points in Singapore.
Yep.
Alpine have got points in every race.
Have they?
6th, 9th, 7th, 6th, 10th, 7th.
Oh, fair play. It's not many more points, to be fair.
No one's been noticing.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because Aston Martin have fallen off, haven't they? Often they've been able to snooker away points there.
Gasly's had a couple of 6th places and a 7th.
Fair play, Pierre Gasly.
Big baller.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'd be very nervous if I was Williams now. Because 7th place this year looked pretty dead set just a few weeks ago. And now 7 points over 2 weekends? I'd be nervous. Then again, this track is kind of built for Williams because it's just one big straight line. Or 2 big straight lines.
Yeah, well, Alex Albon could easily just be 5th or something like that in the race. So we'll have to wait and see. But Williams, they probably are nervous. Because the way Daniel Ricciardo, especially, and Tsunoda, to be fair, are driving at the minute, they're coming for that 7th place, aren't they? So,
well, if Tsunoda hadn't have bottled it in Mexico when he clashed with Piastri, they'd probably be, 3 points behind them? 5 points behind them?
Something like that, yeah.
There's a real opportunity still. Later on. At least it would give us something worth talking about, because it's highly unlikely that...
the battle for 7th,
the battle for 2nd, the battle for 4th, and the battle for 7th. We could still go into Abu Dhabi, where 8 of the 10 teams can take positions. Albeit the battle for 7th will be a lot of extreme. Exactly, there's still a lot of money to play for in the background still.
Definitely.
But that's all, of course, a topic for after Vegas, when we just have a 8-day turnaround between Vegas and Abu Dhabi. How that's a doubleheader, I will still never quite understand. But
Yeah.
a 6 a.m. start though for race day Sunday, Jamie. We're looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to
we
it.
can both watch it live. We're going to go live here on the No Wheel Channel. We're not really. I would love to do that one day, to be fair.
We should. Once they relax their rules on broadcasting.
Well, even
F1,
if we just did it with live timing, so people can tune in and listen to our reactions instead, or something like that, it would be fun in the future.
It would just be a nightmare to try and sync ourselves up with the race, wouldn't it?
You do all right. You do all right, I think.
We shall hopefully see. I've got a quiz.
You've got a quiz?
Which is nothing to do... Actually, I'm going to...
Go on, try and wrangle this round.
Link.
Yeah, try and wrangle this.
So, as we know, they have tried to make Las Vegas into the biggest show possible.
Yeah.
It's all about the entertainment.
Yeah.
So I got me thinking, which F1 drivers appeared on a show?
Where? Okay.
Particularly, which Formula 1 drivers have appeared on a certain British TV show? It is
That's
Top Gear.
really weird, because I watched the Lewis Hamilton interview just before we did this.
So, this is... Listen carefully to the question.
Okay. It's like having a teacher.
This is a quiz about the Formula 1 drivers leaderboard.
Yep.
On Top Gear.
Yep.
In the Chevy... No.
Lassetti, yeah. It was the Lassetti.
No, was it Lassetti?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are
no,
10
was
names.
it the Lassetti or was it the Liana?
It was the Liana, Suzuki
It
Liana,
was the
wasn't
Suzuki Liana.
Back in the day. There are 10 names on the list of lap times on the
Formula 1
board.
star board.
You have a minute starting now.
Lewis Hamilton, Jenson Button, Kimi Raikkonen, Sebastian Vettel, Mark Webber. Schumacher never did, I don't believe.
No, he didn't.
Nigel Mansell definitely did.
Yeah.
Damon Hill, I believe, did. Really early on. David Coulthard?
No.
Rubens Barrichello?
Yes.
Definitely did.
There's 2 more.
Yep. I'm trying to think. Other drivers that did.
You've got 30 seconds, long time.
I said Jensen. I've said Lewis.
You did say Jensen.
Yep. Don't forget what.
How did I word the question?
Oh, the Stig.
Yeah.
Yep. And...
One more. 10 seconds. The fastest driver ever.
I thought that was Lewis.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
You got beaten.
Did he?
And your time is up.
Oh,
dear.
Give me their nationality. Or will that give it away?
Make it so easy.
You got
It was
beaten.
very late. I think it was in 2014. They posed a question. You get it from this. They posed a question. Sorry, they opened up the floor. They were like, any audience member.
Oh, Danny Rick, wasn't it? Yeah. I completely forgot he went on there.
What's the back of Lewis's
Yeah,
car like?
I do remember that, yeah. Yeah, no, I can't believe I blanked on that.
Daniel Ricciardo. Well, you did all right. I'm impressed you got the Stig.
Well, only because you gave me the hint about, obviously, the wording of the question. Yeah. Have you ever seen the Damon Hill interview?
I haven't.
Like the studio.
Actually, I have.
So,
yeah, I think
bad
I have.
in the early seasons. We can't do a podcast now just dedicated to
We
Top
could
Gear.
talk for 6-7 hours easily.
We could easily do a Top Gear
Probably
podcast.
6-7 days, to be honest.
We'll do a Top Gear podcast, knowing
Over the winter.
knowing gear. Actually, that sounds like a drug dealer show.
Oh, dear. We could just review, like, the African special or something like that.
Yeah, wonderful. Predictions, Jamie, for Vegas. The points are tight, aren't they? I believe.
They are. 2 races to go.
This is the championship battle.
2 points clear.
This is the championship battle.
That's very difficult. I mean, there's a tweet on the line, although I barely ever tweet, so it's quite
It'd be
obvious.
quite
that it's
obvious,
Matt's tweet.
yeah.
Yes. You can go first.
Thank you, because I'm behind still. Oh, there's only 8 points available this and next weekend. And like we said, we feel Vegas is going to get scripted.
I want to match you. I do just make sure you can't.
I say you're not allowed to predict anyone where I predict them. Make it really interesting.
I disagree with that.
I'm going to be really stupid. I'm going to throw this away with 2 weekends to go. Charles Leclerc pole.
Okay.
Max Verstappen win. Lando Norris P2. Sergio Perez P3. Really dull.
For Charles to get another pole non-win. We love
Non-podium, yeah.
I will go Max Verstappen on pole.
Okay.
If we're going by that, I can't predict people where you.
Here we go. Yeah. You said Verstappen is not going to win this weekend a couple of weeks ago with confidence. So you better back that claim up now.
I'm going to go Lando Norris to win the race.
Well, Jamie, he did in my very first My Team season. He did win his first race in Las Vegas.
There you go. It's a prophecy. So Lando Norris to get his first ever race win in Vegas, and then absolutely party all night afterwards.
Get married.
Yes.
To George Russell.
I will go. Maybe it's all come full circle. What did you say? Verstappen, Norris,
Perez.
I'll go Norris, Verstappen second. I don't know how that would happen, but I'm not going to think about that. Norris, Verstappen, and Carlos Sainz.
Interesting.
He loves a P3.
He does love a cheeky P3, doesn't he? Of course, that has got to be about the 5th time this season that Jamie has predicted Lando Norris to win.
Only second, I think.
No, you've done it more than twice. You've done it more than twice. You've definitely done it more than twice. You've done it for at least 3 sprints.
It was only like 2 weeks ago that I did it for a GP.
No. GP or a sprint? GP or a sprint?
It will happen eventually.
Have we got anything else to add, though, Jamie?
I'm looking forward to what's on the sphere, to be honest.
I reckon it would just be a big Formula 1 logo, and it would be really disappointing.
That's so dead. They should just put, like...
The race. What they should do with the sphere is put a better race on.
Show us, like, Canada 2011 on the sphere.
Yeah. We want to watch Jenson Button come out doing the fingers like Seb used to do. I watched that a few weeks ago. Funny.
So satisfying.
So funny. JB's such
the best thing was, I don't know if you remember this, there was a BBC like piece before the race talking to Jenson, and he was like, the only thing that annoys him about Seb winning is the fact that he does the finger his like number one finger sideways. He does it super crooked.
Yeah.
And then Jenson comes out and does it like straight up in front of
So good. I would love to have Jenson on the show one day.
Oh,
I think if we had Jensen on the show, I wouldn't be hosting. It would be my girlfriend, though.
She loves Jensen Button more than she loves you.
Oh, easily. I'm not even in the same conversation as Jensen Button.
That's rough.
I can accept that as well, to be fair.
You're not a world champion, to be fair.
No, exactly. We love Jensen. Jensen, if you're listening, I'm sure you tune in every week. Come on the show. Send us a line on Twitter, mate. Drop us a follow. We'll get you on. We might be able to squeeze you in at some point. But Jamie, we've only got about 8 more shows to go on my main channel. I must admit, I've scheduled out all the last podcasts a few days ago, and it was quite a sad little moment because we've done almost 150 episodes of this. It is by far and away the longest series I've ever done on YouTube, and even though it's not going, I still feel a little bit sad about it. Well,
that makes one of us.
Oh, fair enough. So. Okay, I see how it is. I remember you even uploaded the first episode on your channel.
I did. It lasted 1 episode on my channel. No, maybe 2. I think it was 2 episodes on my channel.
Either way, it's going to be weird, isn't it? Saying goodbye.
It will be a sad moment
on the main
saying
channel.
Au revoir to all of Matt's followers on YouTube and just having our own followers in our own little place. It'll be lovely.
It'll be wonderful. But of course, if you're watching this on my main channel, links down in the description below. We're getting very, very close to 300 subs on the Knowing Wheel channel, so it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. But Jamie, as always, it has been an absolute pleasure. And we will be back next week to discuss how Vegas turned it around and was the greatest race of a generation. Jenson Button comes back and wins it.